Hey guys, so today we have the release of the new DLC Howling Peaks. As you can see here, the island is unlocked and I'll go through the missions later on, but first I want to talk about some updates. So here you can see the patch notes. While there are a few interesting things like more health generation from the healing totem or a general buff to the damage output of the soul lantern, we also see a few other things. For example, I really like the change to Prospector, which will make that proc from basically all sources of kills, which means pets, artifacts and bows, and not just your main damage weapon that you have the enchantment on. The same goes for looting. The way we gain emeralds was changed, so it is more efficient from Apocalypse 7 on to drop emeralds, and is less efficient to salvage gear, which basically counters a little bit the speedrunning techniques for farming, that you just run through open chests and salvage the emeralds. But let's see if that change actually makes a big difference. But the big part here is the changes to brief invulnerability when rolling. Now the first thing they did was to reduce the duration from 1.1 seconds to 0.3 seconds, which is actually a pretty heavy nerf. And then they went and added a VFX effect to it, so that we can see when the effect is active and when it ends. And then they also made it so that whenever your roll ends, and if the roll was shorter than 0.3 seconds, the invulnerability also will end. So that means that you can't go infinite invulnerability anymore. But you can still keep it up most of the time, and later in this video I will show you that. And then they say that keeping up the invulnerability for the whole time was an unextended exploitable behavior. I personally don't think so, but that's what they say, so we have to accept that. And then they reduced the damage reduction from Ghost Cloak from 80 to 50%. It's a little bit sad to see that, but also not a big deal, I guess. Okay, so I now got 3 feathers, so let's have a look, but well, maybe with 3 feathers you can still make it work. Let's have a try. Let's have a try at this. Let me quickly get the Winter's Touch in here. And where could we try it? Let's just go... Actually, let's just go Fiery Forge, and... So let's go to Apocalypse plus 20. And let's have a look at how this works. It seems like Apocalypse plus 20 isn't that hard anymore. Like, enemies are actually dying. I mean, yes, they still get revived and they do quite a lot of damage, but to be honest here, this looks doable. Did they change the scaling of Apocalypse Plus? Here, you can see there's a lot more emeralds coming out of the chests now. We'll see how this will affect the way we play the game when we farm emeralds. This is actually working pretty well. I didn't expect that. I mean, we still face the same old problems with like crowd control and knockback. And yeah, you can see in between there are a few moments where you actually can take damage. But it is still doable. Let's see. Yeah, you can see in the fire you now take damage. Like, you can't go full invulnerability mode anymore. This is not going to work. But you can still pretty much go through everything. Unless you get crowd controlled. Like, to be fair, it doesn't look that much different. The only thing we really have to change here is that we cannot use a Torment Quiver or Fireworks Arrow anymore. Okay, now I'm out of arrows. Let's see how this will go. Okay. Doesn't go that great because enemies refuse to die now. Actually, the boss at the end could become really problematic. Oh, I don't even make it there. Okay, so it is still doable, but I think you need to play more carefully because you're not invulnerable for the whole time. You are vulnerable in between, and you need to be a little more considerate about where you move to and when you move forward, because if you just roll into a bunch of enemies, they will hit you, and it's very likely that you take damage. Also, being crowd control feels a little more punishing than before, probably because the invulnerability is just shorter. So overall, I think the build is still very playable, but a little bit weaker than before. But overall, Apocalypse Plus seemed to be easier than before, so let's have a try if we can do it with a melee build. Okay, so let's have a look if this is going to work. Like, we got a pretty decent cursed axe, a wither armor, bow of lost souls for anime conduit, gong of weakening, deathcap mushroom, and an iron hide amulet. Thorns also isn't that problematic anymore. I like that change. I mean, of course I got the healing on hit, but still, I think that's a positive change. Yeah, going through melee enemies here is actually pretty fun. Okay, hands down, this is actually working. Like, you have to play a little more carefully than before, but I mean, just look at it. It's working. I think they nerfed Apocalypse Plus again, but this is actually pretty fun. Like, I am on Apocalypse Plus 20 here, and well, you know from the videos I made before, from the Apocalypse Plus 20 moments, how this looked like before Howling Peaks. This is actually good. I like this. I would even say that this is fun again. I don't get this "it's impossible" feeling that I had before. It is beatable again. And it actually is fun, if you play careful. Okay, so I went through the patch notes again, and just a few things that I want to point out here. That the Flaming Quiver, I made a video about it when the game first came out, about its weird behavior. And they fixed that now, so it deals just additional damage on top of ranged weapon damage, which is something that I was asking for basically since the release. You can check this video out, just... basically one of the first videos I made. It's not even commented. And they also fixed that Dynamo would trigger off deflecting. I think with the nerf to Apocalypse Plus, or the whatever they did, like, there's no mention to whatever they've done here, but I'm really happy with the results. Like, the difficulty got lowered again, so it's actually fun to play the game, and you can actually play it with melee builds again. You don't get one shot by everything. And the nerfs to the rolling build, let's be fair, it was to be nerfed. They announced it previously, and yeah, it deserved a nerf. It was totally broken, and actually the build still works. It's just a little weaker, and I think that's fine because the overall difficulty of the game was lowered again. Now it's in a good spot, and I'm really happy that they listened to all the criticism that they got for the Apocalypse Plus 20 stuff from the last patch. So yeah, I'm looking forward to play the new maps later today, and also keep you guys informed about new enchantments, new gear, and everything else I can find. So that is all for this video. As always, thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye!